Hello, how are y'all doing today? You know, I completely forgot that I didn't put up the timer for when stream is actually supposed to start. But it's okay, 5 minutes is already up. How are y'all doing today? We're back with another weekly brain nourishment stream. Fire Eagle says he won't be able to see the stream today. That's okay. Don't have to be here for every brain nourishment stream. Yeah, how are we all doing today? It's a bit of a slower start today, and it's not going to be as busy as last week. At least not for whatever we're doing on stream. This week is more chill for the streams. You're good, you're good? Good to hear. Yeah. I am still doing a lot of work for J.E. Eisen at the moment, but most of that stuff is off-stream work because I do not have the hardware or capabilities to stream while working on that at the same time, because it's all a bunch of local fine-tuning and all that stuff that kind of maxes out my entire system. Stream lag be crazy today. Took like 30 seconds. It took 30 seconds. Hopefully it fixes itself in a little bit. Hello, Blue Diamond. Hello, Solaris. How are all doing? Yeah, hopefully soon we'll be able to see Jay Eisen again. I'm hoping. I have a timeline set out. I have showed it before inside of the Discord. I have a timeline set out for my work on J.E. Eisen at the moment, but I am struggling a lot with this stuff off stream. Like, to put this into perspective, I have spent the last maybe 50 hours or so fine-tuning and making data sets for J.E. Eisen, and at the current moment I have like 100 gigabytes worth of data downloaded on my system, and I've spent like 50 hours processing all of them, like parsing it down, getting out the correct information from these data sets, and then turning them into stuff usable for J.E. Eisen, right? And it's just been such a pain. I only just finished cleaning up all that data yesterday night, but it's gonna take me like maybe another 3 hours to convert it all into a proper data set in which I can use to fine tune. So it's a lot of fucking work behind the scenes right now, but mostly it's just waiting, because all of this takes time. It takes time to compute stuff. It's not like things happen instantly, right? But yeah, that's just a lot of stuff that I've been working on since last stream. Yeah, I honestly haven't had much of a break since last stream. I mean, yeah, I do get breaks, but for the most part, it's just me working. Limit, we got some peak submissions. I did look through the submissions right before stream, but what else do we have? Wow, incredible. Incredible fucking submission, bro. It's not even a link. It's not even a link. It literally just says, I'm so lazy, so just search up Rickroll in YouTube. Damn, you got me, bro. I can't believe I got Rickrolled in 2025. Oh my god. We have a couple of submissions though, and I'm pretty sure these are submissions that... No, one of these is something that I sent. Okay, this other one. Let's just get this out of the way really quickly. There's this other article, and I don't know what is up with this website, by the way, because to put this into context, this same website that we're going to look at right now, somebody linked this to me before in the Discord, and it was an article about Project J.E. Eisen. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Somebody made an article about Project J.E. Eisen? Like, I didn't think we made it that big. But then I looked at the article and, well, you're about to see. This is an article. Hold on, let me turn off the music really quick. Where is it? And we're just gonna turn the music down to like there. This is an article about an interview with Vidal about Neurosama's new model. Now, this was published in 2024, so about a year ago, and I just have one thing to say about this website. I don't think there is a single person actually writing articles on this website. I am 99% sure this is all AI generated and not even human reviewed. Because I looked at, I don't even know if I can, hold on, let me try finding inside the Discord. Toolify.ai. Shit. Toolify? Old? No. URL? Search for URL. Fuck, I don't remember. We can probably search it up here, actually. If I search up project, J.E. Eisen, Toolify. I can't find it, but there was a thing here. There was an article about you manually added on it. I saw an article and it was just like the most AI generated slop I've ever seen, because it's like, it doesn't go that in depth. It's only talking about my very first video, and all the images that they pulled from the videos are like, I can count the pixels in the fucking screenshot. You can't even see what is happening inside of the article. It is maybe like
I
10
have
by
crazy
10
idea.
pixels.
What if we fine-tune AI model to rickroll with the lyrics and links to video?
Oh my god, if you guys do that. I have done that before. When I first played around with RBC, I did make a dub of myself over fucking Rickroll before. But, oh my god, if we start making Rickroll covers and they start linking me that in the content farm, oh my god, man. Please, Rickrolling it in 2025, can we not? But yeah, right before stream, I saw this URL, Toolify AI, and I'm just like, I have to check. After seeing that one article about Project J.E. Eisen, I just have to check this website and see if this is the same shit that I saw for Project J.E. Eisen. And I read through like a bit of this, and I'm pretty sure this interview never even happened. I'm pretty sure this guy, whoever is managing this website, if there's even a person managing this website, I'm pretty sure they prompted like ChatGPT or whatever and was like, can you make an article about Neurosama's new changes as though it was an interview with Vidal? And then they just copy and pasted all of that shit here. Because let's go through this. Do you plan on doing it again? What is this introduction? Do you plan on doing it again? Perhaps I won't do it every night, but I actually want to work on her improvement because I can only do it when I'm available. Very good, gotcha. Also, it's cost me money, you know? Like, what the fuck is this? This is like a transcription, almost, of their conversation, but it's out of context. This isn't even an introduction, and this doesn't even sound like what something Vito would say, even if he was trying to dodge or avoid the question. And where else? There was another one where it was just like so blatantly bad because it was just typos after typos after typos. Okay, the challenge. Are you renting GPUs or what's going on? I don't intend to say what costs money to me, and because I obviously don't have a dissonance, I've never heard him use this word before, I haven't gained anything. Did you receive payment from Twitch? I have been paid $0 from Twitch. Very unbelievable. What? What about donations? Friend, I bet you. He doesn't ever say friend. I bet you the people who donated for that bot. What? Where did my sub money go? Hopefully it will eventually reach Nira. Nira. but we don't know when Twitch will ultimately pay me. And then there was another one where he calls Neurosama like neutral Sama. Sama. Neurosama. Oh shit. Oh, what the hell? Neutral Sama. Behind the bands. You do the same things. Wait, there was some other parts to it as well. The ban and its impact. Why were you banned? I don't know. Shrimp didn't tell me. Who the fuck are Shrimp? I was watching Google. What do you mean watching Google? It's completely possible that she says something about the Holocaust. This wasn't even in 2024. This was like 2023 type shit. Yes, neutral Sama wasn't neutral. Like this entire article, man, I don't think there's a single part of it that was human reviewed, human written, and I think it was published by the aid of an AI. Like, what about these other ones? What about these other articles here? AI news. AI news? More like news that was written by AI. Like, what the fuck? What do we have? What do we have? This is the peak of like AI applications that I see out there on the fucking Reddits, bro. They'll be like, I built a fully autonomous news website powered by AI, and this is the kind of shit that they're like publishing. hello Plamin. So like, what is Skywork? Is this an article? No. Where the fuck are the articles? I hit find AI news and it takes me to this shit. Like, what am I looking at? AI news and news. Top 8. Create standout resume. Okay, let's just read this one. I mean, is this it? Create a standout resume with Teal GPT resume builder. How much you want to bet that this is also AI slop right here? Integrating GPT with Teal Resume Builder. In recent years, artificial intelligence, have to put it in brackets AI in case the people don't know what AI is, has revolutionized various industries, including the field of resume building. Okay. When it comes to creating a compelling resume, it can often contain a daunting task. I guess it's not as easy for me to tell if this one is AI generated or not, because I don't know the actual context for this or the contents of this, but at least this is like, the grammar for this isn't complete garbage, right? I don't know. If I ever see an article linked inside of the content reaction form linking to Toolify AI, I am just not fucking accepting it, because it is all AI generated slop, man. It is so badly written if it even is human written. Submit, advertise, update AI, submit GPT. Like, what the fuck is this? I don't know. That's just my little rant about Toolify AI. But there's this other article. I submitted this one myself. This one is... I saw this earlier this morning, and I didn't want to read it, but I saw it on a low-level video, him covering it. So I thought it might be interesting for us to go through it because, well, you denied it. Did you deny it? You did not deny it. I accepted it because I wanted to talk about it. But this article, oh, you mean, okay, never mind, I'm stupid. ignore what I said. But what I chose out this article because I think it could be pretty interesting to go over, since, I don't know, I have a lot of experience working in, I guess, security and open source packaging, right, as part of my job, or I guess my past internships and whatnot. But this is about death by 1,000 slops, or AI submitted CVEs in fucking open source security. And this is by a guy named, what, Daniel Stenberg. Apparently he's like pretty goated in open source. He's like the maintainer, one of the core maintainers of curl and whatnot. It's like kind of a big deal, you know. But this was written in July 14, 2025. And it's called Death by 1,000 Slops. I did go through this article a little bit already, but let's just give it a read. It's not that long. All right. I have previously blogged about the relatively new trend of AI slop invulnerability reports submitted to curl and how it hurts and exhausts us. This trend does not seem to slow down. On the contrary, it seems that we have recently not only received more AI slop, but also more human slop. The latter differs only in the way that we cannot intermediately tell that an AI made it, even though we many times still suspect it. The net effect is the same. I feel like this is the case for a lot of the industries, right? Not just open source security, but just like everywhere you see it. Inside of programming, inside of art, you'll get a massive surge of just AI generated content and people thinking that whatever they're contributing that was produced with AI or whatnot is on the same level or just as beneficial to the rest of the community as normal contributions and whatnot. And they think that, okay, if this isn't like a good submission, then who cares, right? But actually, it does matter quite a bit. The general trend so far in 2025 has been way more AI slop than ever before, as we have averaged in about 2 security report submissions per week, which, if you are unfamiliar with open source and CVEs, 2 security reports is kind of a lot. Generally, especially for packages or software as old as curl, you probably wouldn't get more than 1 CVE per month, let's say. And for something as small as curl, small in the grand scheme of all other like packages and whatnot, maybe you would get like a couple every year, let's say, right? It's not very common for open source software to get a fuck ton of CVEs every single day or every single week, right? They're pretty spaced out, but the real challenge comes when you start having to maintain multiple software packages, and once you start adding more, the rate of problems start piling up until you're getting like maybe 1 CVE a week, 1 CVE every day, right? But at that point you have like 100 different open source software packages that you have to maintain and whatnot. But for something like curl, 1 every couple of weeks is expected, but now they're getting about 2 every week, which is quite a bit more. So in early July, about 5% of the submissions in 2025 had turned out to be genuine vulnerabilities. The valid rate has decreased significantly compared to previous years. 5% of submissions in 2025, if they're getting, in early July, 5%. So this is about what? January, February, March, April, May, June, July. That's about half a year in, and 5%. If they're getting on average 2 a week, roughly 4 weeks a month, I guess there's 54 weeks in a year, so let's say 27 weeks, 27 by 2, 54, 5%, what? Of the 54 submissions they got, roughly 2 to 3 are actual problems that they have to deal with, and the rest that they just have to churn through and even decipher if it is worth their time or not. And that is quite a bit of time they actually have to deal with this shit. Like, it adds up. 54 over half a year doesn't sound like a lot, but this is just like normal maintenance on top of their regular day-to-day of adding new features, managing other projects and stuff like that, because this is just for curl. So yeah, 54 is quite a bit, I would say. We have run the curl bug bounty since 2019, and I have previously considered it a success based on the amount of genuine and real security problems we have gotten reported and thus fixed through this program. 8.1 of them, or 81 of them to be exact. 81 since 2019. Take that in. 81 genuine problems with curl since 2019, and then in half a year to get 54. Take that in for a second. With over 90,000 USD paid in rewards, which is crazy. I would maybe consider doing something like this in the future for Project JEISON or Project Vita, if it ever gets to that kind of scale and usage, but paying out 90,000 USD is quite a bit over like 6 years. But yeah, in case you don't know what bug bounty is, basically it's like, what is it? HackerOne. There's these websites that you can go to, and companies or open source software maintainers or whatnot, they'll publish or they'll open up submissions for their software on websites such as HackerOne. And basically what people on HackerOne or the community on HackerOne does is they look at these packages, and their objective is to find problems or bugs in the software that haven't been reported yet to the maintainers of the software. And so by finding the bugs, finding the problems, and submitting them, if it is indeed a problem, then whoever is maintaining the package or the software, they'll basically pay whoever reported it. So it's basically like, it's basically a bounty for finding bugs in software and whatnot, right? Maintainers publish their packages onto there as a bounty, being like, hey, can you guys find some bugs? We'll pay you if you find some bugs. And then people in the community will find bugs and attempt to try and get money out of them, right? And what the problem here is that a lot of people who maybe aren't really that into programming, or who just want to make a quick buck and take advantage of AI, they're just submitting a bunch of bogus reports, or I guess AI generating and trying to use AI to find vulnerabilities in software, and then submitting those on HackerOne in an attempt to try and claim a bounty, right? And this is alongside all of the other real ones that have been tested, verified, and whatnot. So, end of the road. While we are not going to do anything rushed or in panic immediately, there are reasons for us to consider changing the setup. Maybe we need to drop the monetary reward, which is kind of sad because, yeah, when you take away the monetary reward, then it just comes down to like, who wants to actually find the bugs? Who actually wants to put their time and effort into finding problems with software, right? Only the people that are truly passionate. It's kind of like the same thing with Project JEISON, right? Who are the people that are actually going to be downloading it and finding bugs and things with that? It's people that are actually passionate about the project or passionate about this community, all right? Hello, Afril, how are you doing? Like, there are a ton of problems with Project JEISON. I know that for a fact, but I don't get to see a lot of the reports, right? I don't get to see a lot of the problems that I see. People don't really publish those issues onto GitHub, or they aren't really made aware to me until somebody like Shadows comes up to me and DMs me and be like, yo, here's a list of new problems that I had to deal with today, and then I have to go through and do some maintenance on Project JEISON and push out a new commit and whatnot, right? But yeah, once you take out an incentive for people to find bugs inside of software, the quality or the amount of actual reports for the problems goes down quite a bit, and the amount of people searching for problems goes down quite a bit, right? And that's not very good when it comes to trying to make secure software that is free of like 0 days and whatnot. I guess maybe they'll come up with some sort of solution later in this article. We'll see. I want us to use the rest of 2025 to evaluate and think. The Curl Bounty program continues to run and we deal with everything as before while we ponder about what we can and should do to improve this situation. For the sanity of the Curl security team members. We need to reduce the amount of sand in the machine. We must do something to drastically reduce the temptation for users to submit low quality reports, be it with AI or without AI. Alright. This is called death by 1,000 slops. It doesn't necessarily have to be AI slop because there are plenty of people that are submitting shit thinking they know what the problem is or thinking that they've done some due diligence, but in reality it is just the lowest effort that they could have possibly put into it. It's just become more of a prevalent problem nowadays because of the access of AI. I saw a comment under Low Level's video and it kind of like summarizes it pretty well. All right. I like your eyebrows. Thank you. I've been trimming them, you know. I've been coloring in my eyebrows. But yeah, I saw a comment that summarizes it up pretty well. And fuck, let me think if I could remember it. It was basically like the year or the era of AI is also the era of the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? If you don't know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is, actually I could probably just pull it up. Dunning-Kruger effect. This is a Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Ah, shit. Can I pull up a image that is actually bigger? Yeah, there we go. My fucking eyes are so bright. This is the Dunning-Kruger effect. At the very beginning, you feel like you're learning everything and everything feels like it's like easy, right? You have a high degree of confidence the less competent you are, but as you're going into it for the first time. And then once you start going deeper and deeper into it, you begin to realize, bro, everything is so fucked up. You end up in the valley of despair where you're like, I thought I knew everything. I thought everything was easy, but everything is actually so much more complicated than it actually is, right? This is like when you first enter a hobby, but then this is when you burn out of a hobby after 2 days of like grinding it. And then after that, if you stick it out for long enough, then you start to actually learn stuff, right? This was basically, press the dark mode radio button. Where? Dark, yes. Okay, my eyes have been saved. This is basically me with Project JAISN as well, at least with the fine-tuning side. When I first made that first video on YouTube about the whole text-to-text model, I was like, you know, this is so easy. You just prompt a little bit, make a small data set, fine-tune a GPT model, right? I'm just going up this curve. And then almost immediately after I started streaming, I just plummeted into the valley of despair. I don't know how many more of these fucking valleys of despairs I have to go through, but right now I'm on the path of enlightenment right now. Because this shit is so hard. Fucking 70 hours, 50 hours into this shit, and I'm still nowhere near complete with JAISN's even initial model for when she's going to reappear later on. But yeah, with the age of AI, the Dunning-Kruger effect is just in full force, man. The curl security team consists of 7 team members. I encourage the others to also chime in to back me up so that we act right in each case, right? No change, especially once you reach bigger and bigger projects with more and more contributors, no change is as simple as, oh, just go in and fix the bug, right? Pretty much all the time, you're going to have some sort of team behind it. And before you can even think about making a change, you have to consult this team to even make sure that this is a right decision to make. And this takes a lot of time, right? He says here, every report thus engages 3 to 4 persons, perhaps for 30 minutes, sometimes up to 3 or up to an hour or 3 each. 2 reports a week up to maybe 3 hours each. This is not uncommon. I've seen this in the places that I've worked at before. Very small, minute changes. So much discussion needs to take place because everybody has their own opinions for what and what shouldn't be done. Everybody has their own opinions of the project, and even management. If you have management, they'll have their own pieces. They'll be wanting to say something inside the conversation just to insert themselves, even if it doesn't even add anything to the conversation. And so there's just a lot of dead weight overhead when it comes to corporate or open source software, where it's not just a single person thinking, okay, I want to make this change, I want to make this feature request, and then they just add it, right? I have the luxury in the fact that I am pretty much a solo dev for Project JEISON, and I can just do whatever the fuck I want, right? Sure, there are some other people who contribute, but for the most part, when it comes to core development, it's just me, right? And so I have full say. I'm basically the dictator. I can do whatever the fuck what I want. But these other people, they have more liability to them, especially with something as big and critical as curl. There's more liability. There's more hoops you need to jump through, and these hoops often take way longer than it would normally take for a single person to just fix this with their own opinions and whatnot. Your project is shit? Yeah, I know it's shit. Okay, buddy. Well, who lost over 6 months of work? Well, it's not lost. It's a learning experience. It's about the journey, you know. So yes, even though it doesn't really seem like it takes that long, trust me when I say every single bug report takes a fucking long time to go through. And there's a lot of work that goes into just fixing a single bug, right? And so when you start getting flooded with more and more of these slop requests, it becomes like a boy that cried wolf kind of thing. Like the maintainers become kind of desensitized and don't really take real issues seriously, or they're wasting all their time just like fucking treading in still water, not really getting anywhere because they have to trudge through all these like fucking dead requests that don't actually do anything, right? It's like the more time that they spend on actually going through trying to fix these bugs or chasing after bugs that don't even exist, the less time that they actually have for building out bigger features that would actually make a like sizable difference to a user experience, right? That's kind of like the main reason why a lot of game devs, you might not see them add a lot of new features with every single update. I guess a good example of that would be Minecraft, right? Minecraft is so old, it's using Java, which is pretty unconventional, and there's just a lot of things that go into it when it comes to maintaining a parity using, I guess, their C implementation versus their Java implementation. So there's a lot of overhead in making sure things are polished, bugs are fixed, but also maintaining the kind of like culture or politics are surrounding a certain product, right? That's why they can't really add as many features. That's why they can't really add as many mobs, even though it does seem kind of artificial at times. There are valid reasons for their relatively slow pace, especially in game development. What is this? Dark Reader? Oh wait, is my Dark Reader even on? Ah, there we go. The thing I hate about this Dark Reader is that it doesn't work for some websites. Trust me, this is a game changer. Okay, is this even the... it's close enough. I personally spent an insane amount of time on curl already. Wasting 3 hours still leaves times for other things. My fellows, however, are not full-time on curl. They might only have 3 hours per week for curl. Bro, my vision is going. I cannot read this shit right now. It is actually so blurry. Not to mention the emotional toll it takes to deal with these mind-numbing stupidities. So true. So fucking true. Even if it's not AI, even if the report isn't just bogus, you just look at it and at first glance, sometimes you can just tell that this is not relevant whatsoever, right? And I feel like if the person reporting it just spent maybe 10 minutes of their due diligence to search up whether search up or even to test what they're submitting, they'll realize that whatever they're submitting just doesn't work or isn't even a problem to begin with, right? Times 8 the last week alone. Reputation doesn't help. On HackerOne, the users get their reputation lower when we close reports as not applicable. That is only really a mild quote-unquote threat to experienced HackerOne participants. For new users on the platform, that is mostly a pointless exercise as they can just create a new account next week. Banning those users is similarly a rather toothless threat, right? I've never actually used HackerOne myself, so I can't really say, but yeah, people are just like swamping these websites and they don't really have to care because they can just keep making alts, right? It's kind of like the same thing as getting banned off of League. Who cares, right? I have like 10 other alts anyways. It only really matters if you get banned off main. Besides, there seems to be so many, so even if one goes away, there are 1,000 more. That is actually one thing I thought about as well. How making these open source bots are kind of contributing to, I guess, a more dead internet or the enshittification of the internet. And that's kind of something that I was debating about before I even started Project JEISON. I guess there was a similar project. I don't want to say like similar in the purpose of Project JEISON, but like similar in conflict, where I guess, okay, have you guys seen, you guys must have definitely seen, on YouTube Shorts or maybe TikTok or whatever, you'll see these Reddit story time videos, right? Where it'll be something like some miscellaneous footage in the background, maybe parkour, Minecraft parkour or whatever, and it'll just be some AI voice reading Reddit stories and whatnot, right? Well, that's actually an open source project. I forget which YouTuber made it, but it was like an open source project that ended up taking a life of its own and becoming its own like massive project. And its entire purpose is for making short form content using Reddit stories and miscellaneous background footage, right? And it resulted in pretty much a massive wave in AI content or AI created shorts of similar styles. And it ended up just flooding the platforms, right? There was a time where every single YouTube short that I looked at would pretty much always be a product of this open source repository. And sometimes it was like, okay, but a lot of the times it just got really annoying. I'm like, bro, what the fuck happened? This is like peak enshittification, peak AI flooding content of the platform. And I was pretty conflicted because I was thinking to myself, you know, I want to make Project JEISON open source, but at the same time, I'm scared that I'm going to be the very thing I swore against and contribute to like the enshittification of VTubing and live streaming, where there's just going to be a million fucking AI VTubers, right, that are all putting in very minimal effort or trying to scam people even with my product or whatever. And I don't know, I just didn't know how to feel about that for something that I created ultimately as something for people to learn from or just to demystify AI for the rest of the world, really. And so that was kind of something that I was debating about. But the guy who created that short form content generator, he released another video and talking about how he doesn't actually regret the project, even though he also hates he also hates the enshittification of the platforms that have started to abuse his project, mostly because, well, I don't know how to fucking really put it, but it's more like the actual proof of the technology that he's created and how even if it is enshittificating the platforms, there is still more benefit to teaching or getting more people motivated to start participating in this kind of space of AI and software development and whatnot. But also the people who do abuse these kind of softwares, again, they're just creating their own competition, and the people who actually do make it above the rest are the people who are actually putting in effort and are serious about that, right? So at the end of the day, I ended up becoming completely fine with releasing Project JEISON as an open source software, knowing full well that whatever I make might just lead to the next fucking AI VTuber apocalypse on fucking Twitch or whatnot, right? But I don't think I'll have that big of an issue, especially considering that there are already like 10 other AI VTuber projects out there that are way bigger than Project JEISON to begin with, right? So I guess my only objective now, or the main thing that my project is doing now, is filling in the niche of teaching people how this stuff even works in the first place. Minecraft Parkour Brain Art is my favorite. I watch it every day for 4 hours straight minimum. That is, oh my god, Subway Surfers kid right here. Yeah, I saw it and knew what will happen with pure stupidity wave on the internet. Yeah, that's, people are just looking for, I guess, people are looking to get attention, right? Whether it be through views or whatnot. And so they'll do anything. They'll jump on these get rich quick, make short form content on their 10 different accounts, make 10K a month, whatever, those kind of fucking videos. They'll fall for them, they'll go for it, and then they'll make a market where they just compete with themselves and they can't sustain themselves, right? None of them really have the genuine drive or passion to continue innovating or creating their own products or their own niche. And it's not really a new problem, I would say. These people have always existed, right? In the form of script kiddies and whatnot. Script kiddies have always existed. They're just the people that would download software or programs that they see on the internet that they think are cool. Like the people who would like want to LARP as hackers, they'll just download some like fucking DDoSing script, DDoSing UI. They'll input some person's fucking IP address and be like, oh my god, look at me, hacker mans. I'm fucking DDoSing the shit out of this guy, get fucking wrecked. But all they did was just fucking download a C program that already had all the dependencies. They don't even have to fucking compile it. They just run it like a fucking Minecraft launcher. They put in a fucking number and they're all good to go. You know, pure hackermans right there. I applaud you, but sure. All right, HackerOne. It is not super obvious to me exactly how HackerOne should change to help us combat this. It is, however, clear that we need them to do something, offer us more tools and knobs to tweak to save us from drowning if we are to keep the program with them. I have yet again reached out. We will just have to see where that takes us. It's kind of a shame that this has become a problem. A good thing has been turned into a bad problem because of the enshittification of, well, tools such as AI and whatnot, right? I did see one of the changes or one of the solutions proposed was to make it so submissions, people had to pay money in order to submit a bug claim, but if that bug claim turns out to be true, then they get refunded and get paid out the bounty, right? I did see that as a proposition, but I also think that that would just do more damage than whatever system is currently in place, right? Because what is the cost of just doing nothing, right? I guess you would still get some bug reports, and maybe those bug reports will be of higher quality, but at the same time, it is discouraging other people from entering this kind of bug bounty community, and it is also reducing the amount of people that really are submitting bugs or trying to help better the security of open source software, right? And so it's kind of a double-edged sword, that kind of proposition to make submissions pay money, because maybe you just submitted something, you don't really and you aren't really confident in whether or not this is just a you problem or a problem with their software. Now all of a sudden you're getting penalized for something where in the past you wouldn't have gotten penalized for submitting something that you thought was genuinely a bug and is a problem on your system, but just didn't turn out to be an actual bug with the overall software. So possible routes forward. People mentioned charging a fee, like I did mention before. to submit a security vulnerability that could be paid back if a proper report. That would probably slow them down significantly, sure, but it seems like a rather hostile way for an open source project that aims to be as open and available as possible, which is what I said before, right? This kind of discourages people from taking part in open source software and especially open source security. Not to mention that we don't have any current infrastructure to set up for this. The refunding portion, I guess it would be like a deposit, but I don't think this system would really be that hard to implement for them. And neither does HackerOne. Managing money is painful. It is a little bit painful, but I don't really think it's that complicated or that much of a stretch for HackerOne to implement this if this becomes a proposed solution, right? They don't have the infrastructure right now, but it shouldn't be that hard to implement the infrastructure later, given that they do have the bandwidth to do that. Dropping the monetary reward part would make it much less interesting for the general populace to do random AI queries in desperate attempts to report something that could generate income. It, of course, also removes the traction for some professional and highly skilled security researchers, but maybe that is a hit we must take, which is an unfortunate trade-off that they have to make if this does go through. As a lot of these reporters seem to genuinely think they help out, apparently blatantly tricked by the marketing of AI hype machines, again the Dunning-Kruger effect, it is not certain that removing the money from the table is going to completely stop the flood. We need to prepare for that as well. Let's burn that bridge if we get to it. The AI slop list. This here is just a list of all of the fucking obviously AI generated fucking bug reports that Daniel has received in the last couple of years since ChatGPT released. And some of these are fucking crazy. Especially the one that I saw from fucking Low Levels video where the bug that they're reporting, the test suite to recreate the bug doesn't even use curl. They just import curl and that's it. The whole memory overflow or the buffer overflow that they mentioned inside of their bug report was created by the code that was meant to test it. And it's fucking crazy because the response that was given later on was also by an AI bot, and on that iteration, it realized that, oh, the submission that I submitted isn't actually a bug and the bug is actually in my own code. So it knows upon reevaluation of its own code that the problem is within their own environment and not curl itself. And so they could have literally just solved that problem and not submitted it if they just had a recursive loop to ask another LLM, hey, is this actually a security vulnerability? Does this make sense? Does this, just doing some sort of fact checking with another fucking AI, doesn't even have to be fucking human reviewed. They could have fucking fixed that shit. I wonder if they have that CVE here. But I don't think so. I really doubt it. But it was such a stupid bug report that I saw. I just had to talk about it today. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this article, really. We can check out some of these. What is this one? The very first one from 2023. Let's see what a 2023 AI generated bug report looks like. Here we go. Summary. CVE from 2023, number 38,545. Vulnerability code changes are disclosed on the internet. What? Vulnerability code changes are disclosed on the internet? This doesn't even sound like a fucking problem. It just sounds like whatever is submitted to GitHub, oh, that's public. For an open source project, by the way. Critical, by the way. What severity did they get this? 9 to 10? You know, severity 9 to 10, this is shit where you would get paged in the fucking middle of the night, 3 a.m. by your fucking project manager and be like, yo, you need to get on this right now. This is like day one type shit. This is the kind of shit where you gotta stop everything that you're doing, hands down, and you just gotta work on this immediately. 9 to 10, by the way, for a bogus fucking report. And it's like that for a lot of these as well. They're reporting them as super high severity, and it kind of just diverts their attention every single time, right? It's fucking boy that cries wolf type situation. But let's see. Maybe I just don't understand this too well. To replicate the issue, I have searched the Bard about this vulnerability. Sure. I guess this is 2023, before Gemini. It disclosed what this vulnerability is about. So this is a report made by a user. So this is actually written by a user, but they used AI in assistance to find this bug, it seems. It disclosed what this vulnerability is about, code changes made for this fix, who made these changes, okay, commit details, etc., even though this information is not released yet to the public. What? To replicate the issue, I have searched in the Bard about this vulnerability. It disclosed what this vulnerability is about, what changes need to be made, who made these changes, commit details, etc. Even though this information is not released yet to the internet. This doesn't even make sense at all. I don't even know what kind of problem he's getting at here. Reading this makes me dizzy? It does. It really does. Like, what's the problem here? And what is the Bard even doing? In addition to it, I was able to easily craft, okay, the exploit based on the information available. So based off of what the vulnerability was reported by Bard, or I guess Gemini predecessor, they recreated this bug. Maybe that's what they're saying. Remove this information from the internet ASAP. Okay. They reported a 9 to 10, a top level, the Bard, my bad, the Bard. They reported a top level, most severe case, world-breaking CVE. And all it is leaked fucking code. Leaked code from an open source software that is available on their fucking GitHub. And they're like, oh my god, the Bard accessed this information. You need to remove this information. Severity 9 to 10. And I'm just like, what? You can't be fucking kidding me. You can't be fucking kidding me. Public information is not meant to be public? What? This is news to me. Vulnerability information. The vulnerability, this isn't even a vulnerability. This isn't even a vulnerability. The vulnerability is caused by an integer overflow in the curl easy set ops. Okay, maybe it's different. The vulnerability can be exploited. What the fuck? Okay, we'll see about this. But an integer overflow, sure. I'm not sure how that could change things, but we'll see. The vulnerability can be exploited by an attacker to execute arbitrary code on a vulnerable system. The only way I can see this being a thing is if they somehow integer overflow an address pointer, and this address points to some, we return using this address to some other area of code. Well, let's see. Execute arbitrary code on the vulnerable machine. Okay, let's see. This sounds legit so far, right? From this vulnerability information. Let's just ignore the steps to reproduce for a second. The vulnerability is fixed in curl 8.4 and higher. Okay, so this is a problem with versions lower than 8.4. Sure. Which is valid, by the way. This is a valid thing to report for CVEs, because even though you've upgraded to a newer version, people might not have upgraded to a newer version, right? They might still be using curl 8.3, right? A lot of businesses, they freeze their packages, they freeze their environments, and so they need to actually report this properly so that enterprises that are using curl or whatever, they'll know that this vulnerability exists, and they don't necessarily have to upgrade past 8.4, but they can look at the fix and apply it to their own local versions of curl, right? That's usually how package maintenance is done. So yes, this is a very valid case of reporting a CVE, but I don't know what the CVE is about. MacTig says, I'm gonna go back to working on a GIF I'm editing. Oh God, it's gonna be some curse ass shit, isn't it? Why is my community so insistent on making me a YouTuber? Not even Jay Eisen, making me a YouTuber, bro. I do not want to be a fucking thirst trap. Look at me. I am a white amorphous blob, fucking bald with a singular blade of grass for hair. Nothing to do with you, lol. Okay, thank you. No more thirst traps, okay, guys. I can't handle being this sexy. Look at my fucking six-pack abs down there, you see? You can't really see it because it's all white, but I trust me when I say they're there. It's just a baggy shirt, you know? You won't make any more? For now. Alright, code fixes. The following code changes fix CVE 2023. Okay, this. CVE, integer overflow, an easy option. This vulnerability could be exploited to cause a denial of service attack or execute arbitrary code on the victims. Okay, they're just regurgitating the same thing. But this feels very AI generated, but I'm guessing they copy pasted it from Bard, right? This is some 2023 AI code generation shit right here. The following code changes fix this vulnerability by checking the value of the timeout argument before passing it to the internal curl function. Okay, sure. So it seems like the integer overflow is for the timeout argument. Maybe it's possible. All right, include curl. So they included curl, and then they called curl easy set opt. What the fuck does this function do? I don't know. I don't know the actual API for curl, but sets an option value for the curl handler. All right. Then we create a bunch of parameter handlers. What the fuck is this? This does not look like C code. At param handle, the curl handle. At param option, the option to set. At param, the value to set the option to. I'm not gonna lie, I am already getting tired reading this fucking HackerOne report. A lot of CVEs are pretty boring to read, but this is just especially bad because it doesn't even make sense. A lot of the things that they're saying, like, sure, they kind of are believable to be a CVE, but I don't know, the wording, it just isn't great. It's hard to fucking decipher what they're trying to say. And then here we go, curl. Code easy set opt. Okay. Curl handle, curl option. Where's the problem here? So we have the timeout. Check for integer overflow. So it would be here, right? Integer or timeout less than 0 or timeout greater than long max. VA and parameters. Well, we don't even have the original code here, do we? We don't. I'm gonna just skip this because I don't even know what I'm looking at here. Use code with coption. This really looks like it's AI generated, lol. Yeah, it really does. Keep in mind, this is 2023. This is like probably one of the first snippets of AI code ever published out there. Limit, did you see the God tier, what is that word? Latines link I sent? I did not. I'll check it out in a moment. Use code with caution. Learn more. I can't learn more, guys. The link isn't working. These code changes were made in commit. Okay, okay. This doesn't look like a GitHub commit hash, but that's probably because they have their own sort of version control. Given how old curl is, I wouldn't put it past them, because a lot of super old packages and whatnot, they don't use GitHub as their main or as their original version control. right? A lot of them just have mirrors on GitHub, which kind of reflect what the original repository looks like. Okay, who made these changes and commit details? Brother, I do not even want to read this. What the fuck is this? The code changes to fix CVE this were made by D XXXXXL SXXXXXG, the maintainer of curl. Okay, this is probably Daniel Sternberg. I keep forgetting his name. I'm so sorry. Daniel Stenberg. Yes, Daniel Stenberg, the maintainer of curl. The changes were made in commits. Yes, this exact same one, and were released in version 8.4. Okay, why are we explaining who Daniel is? What is this fluff? He's a Swedish programmer, yes, like he didn't know, and a creator of and a maintainer of curl. You said this already. He has been working on curl for over 20 years. Why are we putting this in the HackerOne report? What the fuck? Okay. We're just gonna skip all of this because this is just a bunch of AI fluff, right? What do we have here? The curl version 8.4 release included a number of changes, including, I don't care about the other fixes that they put in here, just this one. Security vulnerability, And then this is the curl releases, showing all the affected versions, maybe. Okay, here we are, curl staff. Dan Fandrich, I'm pretty sure Daniel did talk about them in the article. I think you're a victim of LLM hallucination. The text has some similarities to the bogus 2020 19909 and other reports. There are plenty of clues that Bard has manufactured bogus information. The code snippet of curl easy set opt doesn't match the actual signature of the function. Oh my god. So they didn't even get this function correct. Okay, this function takes in some parameters like an integer or string maybe. They didn't even get that right. Okay, this is a real function, but they didn't even get that right and wouldn't even compile. Yes, the code that they submitted wouldn't even compile. A change log that doesn't match reality and more indications that is completely bogus. I'm curious to hear what your exploit does against a made-up vulnerability. Care to share? It's fucking crazy, but let's see. What is their response? Complete bogus.
1-to-1 coin flip, guys.
Okay. I responsibly disclosed the information as soon as I found it. Don't do this. You find a bug. Sure, time is of the essence, but do your due diligence to actually make sure that this is a bug. Like, come on. I believe there is a better way to communicate to the researchers. What researchers? What researchers? And I hope that the curl staff can implement it for future submissions to maintain a better relationship with the researcher community. You already said yourself, it's implemented in version 8.4 and later. Like, you did not find anything worth reporting. You were fooled by an AI into believing that. And what they did, in what way did we not meet our end of the deal? That is fucking, bro. Literally, none of this made sense because it was never meant to make sense. It's fucking crazy. These vulnerabilities that people submit. Oh my god, man. I would, maybe it's just me, but I can never understand people who are so quick to jump onto something, even though when are clearly inexperienced. And I guess that is just the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? You're so fucking confident. You're basically as confident as an expert doing all your shit with it. And then you actually fall into the valley of despair. But I feel like for the most part, with AI, you pretty much always sit at the top of this Mount Stupid. This Mount Stupid here. And that isn't to say that you shouldn't at least try your hand at stuff like this, but just be more cautious and be wary of the fact that you are a newbie and you will fall victim to the Dunning-Kruger effect at some point. You just have to be wary of it, right? And not to jump straight away into, I guess, this more serious field, especially of open source, reporting open source fucking vulnerabilities and being so confident about it, right? When you're new, you can contribute to this stuff. Just be more cautious about it and actually understand whether or not this is a problem and understand it for yourself fully. Because at the beginning, you're ultimately still learning, right? So why the fuck are you using AI and completely believing AI in the first place? Not again. Where? What's your balance? All right. That's enough of this article. I just wanted to get that off my fucking chest. Fucking open source security rant over. I've seen this so much in my work as well, because my work, I'm not going to disclose where I fucking work, obviously, but what I work on is patching a lot of these open source packages that we have inside of our own business. We have our own versions that we copy, clone down, and try and fix bugs for, just so we maintain a specific version for all of our environments. Bro, the amount of fucking bogus vulnerabilities that I have to fish through as well. They aren't even like AI generated vulnerabilities, but we basically have this separate team that looks through a lot of the CVEs being reported from stuff like NVD or whatever, NVD, National Vulnerability Database. Or they'll look at other upstreams and whatever, they'll pull them down, they'll look at it and be like, okay, is this possibly something relevant to our environments? If so, then they'll file a ticket, submit it down to the corresponding teams, and the corresponding teams have to look through it with a second eye and be like, yeah, this is a problem, or no, this is a complete bogus, right? And we, because of how many packages we have, I swear my team alone, granted my team does get most of the packages, but we get like dozens of vulnerabilities every single week that we have to look through, and it's such a fucking chore to go through all of them, because a lot of the time you look at them, they're completely new vulnerabilities that don't yet have a fix, and you're sitting there trying to figure out if there is a fix or not, and you're just trying to fucking tread in water trying to see if it's even a problem or not, right? But a lot of the times you see it and you're just like, yeah, this is not a problem, just skip over it or whatever. But a lot of this time you will get problems where you're just like, I don't even know if this is a problem. And so you have to like spend a couple hours relearning an entire freaking piece of software, like at the low level. You have to make up test suites that implement this exploit and test to see if this exploit works. And you have to make other unit tests as well to make sure that the other functionality doesn't get broken with your fixes as well. And it's just like, it's a whole thing. It's a whole ordeal. Sometimes I did a whole survey on this, and on average, one vulnerability ticket can take 8 hours on average to fix. And that's taking into consideration all of like the really shitty broken ones that haven't had like fixes or backports for fucking years and whatnot, right? But this shit is like, it takes a lot of time. And it's not like we're purely a packaging team. We have to also make features and keep up with all the rest of the teams and all that stuff, right? So yeah, we ended up having to delay one of our products by a good couple of months, or we had to make our team work double overtime, like 16 hours a day, just to meet deadlines, because most of the time has been spent working on catching up with all of the CVE reports that we're getting and trying to like fish through all of the bogus reports and whatnot. And that's just like for the first bit of the day. The second bit of the day is actually working on the product features that we planned on releasing. It's just a whole thing. It's just a whole thing. AI is going to be awesome and completely reliable for for stuff like this, it's just many, many years away from doing so in a safe and trustworthy way. Like, yes, that I completely agree with that. And I also agree with the sentiment that you can use AI to find security vulnerabilities today. You just need to be careful with it. And the people who are using AI to find these vulnerabilities, to make their reports, a good portion of the time, they're just not putting in their due diligence. And I think that has more to do with the crowd that is using AI to code rather than the AI itself, right? Because you can steer AI to get you to find good results. And I'm pretty sure Low Level was talking about this, and he has a colleague that uses AI to find vulnerabilities and whatnot, but they only have a 2% success rate. But that's fine, because of all of the reports that they do get from the AI, they look through every single one to see which one is bogus or not before submitting, right? That is how you should be approaching using AI to find security vulnerabilities, right? You shouldn't be just generating it and then posting it immediately, or generating it, looking at it, being like, yes, this codes, this looks like code, and then submitting it, right? Because that's the main problem right here. Even in the future, even when AI gets super awesome and super good at this kind of stuff, you still need to look through the actual code. I mean, sure, if their success rate goes up a massive amount to like 95% or whatnot, right? 95% of the time it finds an actual bug report, worthy bug report, then sure, spam it all you want. But I doubt that's ever going to be the case, just because of the nature of open source security. Right? I don't think it's one of those things that can easily be automated with a high degree of confidence. Even though you may be able to say, yeah, sure, AI is getting good at coding, but being able to debug is a whole different skill that, well, quite frankly, I don't really see AI being that good at, or reliable enough for us to put complete trust in that, right? Because, I guess I can say this, it wouldn't go against my NDA, but I worked on a lot of AI stuff in my old internship, and one of the main concerns, especially with the open source security team, was that, we can't trust the AI. We can't let the AI just do its own thing and have free reign over the code base and whatnot, right? So at every step in my AI pipeline, it has to stop and bring in a developer to make sure that everything that's happening so far is correct and it isn't hallucinating. And then there has to be like this 3% cross-checking or cross-referencing for every single one of these AI created patches or AI created reports that confirms whether or not the problem really has been solved or not, right? It's never going to be left The AI is never going to be left alone to make all the fixes or to find all of the solutions. And we have to make very clear to anybody who's using my tool that they are liable for whatever comes up, and they are liable for checking. They can not be like, okay, yeah, it gave me back this commit as being a patch, I'm just going to use it blindly, right? Then that's their fault. We have this whole human intervention thing as kind of like a liability thing. Because if you just let the AI do its own thing, then who's going to be liable? I'm going to be liable for when 10 million different packages breaks? I'm a fucking intern, bro. I don't work there no more. I do think it will be even better than 99% of humans. Not now or in the near future, but for sure in 2050 or so, for example. I wouldn't even say 2050. Because you have to keep in mind that in order for AI to get good at this sort of thing, we need to be able to feed it with data sets that accurately reflect these bugs and these problems and how to properly fix them and whatnot. And the thing is, humans themselves aren't even that good at finding the bugs, right? if we aren't good at the task ourselves, how can we expect to create an AI to get good at doing that thing? You might say, okay, let's iteratively evolve an LLM to get better at this very specific task. But I don't know, maybe I'm just being naive, but I think that this kind of domain is far more difficult and not really something that we can achieve by 2050. But I don't think we can really achieve it with the current LLM paradigm. I think we'll need a complete reinvention of how we approach generative AI, and specifically like coding assistants and whatnot, before we can actually see more powerful or more accurate LLMs that go beyond the data sets in which they were created from. Like, sure, some AIs are able to go beyond their data sets. They are able to infer and make revelations, but I don't think it's to the degree in which they're capable of being independent in debugging code such as this. Especially when it comes to like super old packages that have matured so much and the vulnerabilities are so obscure. And a lot of the times, like, there's a lot of politics when it comes to coding and open source software as well. So you can't really say that there is this one specific solution to solve them all, because there are multiple. There is also the option to just do completely nothing. And you do have a lot more specifications in like saying, I want to make sure everything is backwards compatible. I want to make sure that it still is usable on this specific hardware, on this specific edge case. And there's just a lot more politics and consideration to take in when you're dealing with open source software that, again, the current paradigm of LLMs just isn't really good at. Oh my god, I got an eyelash in my mouth. What the hell? Alright. Do we have any more content farming submissions? Not really. Not really. What the? Oh. No, we got one here. What is this? You self-inserted this. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. God damn it, Haku. Nah, I'm talking about real AI, not the large language models. Okay, when you put real in quotations, I don't know what you mean. Do you mean real as in the actual definition of AI? Or do you mean like the idealistic AI that we see in movies and whatnot? If you mean the traditional definition of AI being just like general functions meant to solve general problems, then sure, yeah, maybe, right? That's just a very vague definition. But if it's on the other end, then we can't really say whether or not if it is possible to make this real AI, especially not by 2050. There's no fucking way, I would say. Maybe in 3000, maybe, when we're all dead and 10 generations have gone by. But yeah, what you're thinking is like maybe perfect AGI. And that is a whole nother can of worms that we don't know if it's actually properly possible. Yeah, fucking Haku manually injected this into our content farming spreadsheet. It's not even a fucking YouTube video, man. God damn it. Haku, MacTig, my bad. Alright. What the fuck do I even do now? We're all out of content. We're all out of shit to farm. It's over. I've fallen off in the span of 1 hour. AI, like it is self-aware, can learn and improve, fully understands what it is doing, and so on. I'm optimistic it will start to be available in 25 years. I do understand others are not so optimistic and say it will take 100+ years. Yeah. Again, it's just idealist optimism, and none of us can really predict what will happen in the future, right? Like, who knows? Maybe I'm just completely wrong. Maybe we'll have it by next year. Who knows? If OpenAI makes a breakthrough in AI, true AGI, who knows? But yeah, I lean, and I think it's pretty obvious, I lean more towards the skepticist side, even though I am like, my identity pretty much revolves around fucking AI at this point. I feel like I am one of AI's biggest haters. Or at least not a hater, but just biggest skepticist, right? Who knows though, maybe I'm still at the top of Mount Stupidity for the Dunning-Kruger effect. Probably still am. Okay. Well, I think, well, it's been only an hour and a half today. I'm just going to take it easy for this week, so I'll probably leave it off for here today. We don't really have anything else to react to for today. And I kind of want to go back and continue making or finalizing the dataset for JA Ison at the moment. So, I'll see you all again on Friday. This Friday, the stream will be delayed by 1 hour, but we're gonna be playing Peak with the boys, Peak with the other mods in the server, and well, hopefully MacTig isn't moving that day. If he is, unlucky. L, I guess. But yeah, I'll see you all on Friday. We'll be gaming an hour later than usual. Enjoy the rest of your days. See you next time. Goodbye.